Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today is going to be a very quick, very simple video. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be deleting the rear brakes of this 2000 Mustang the right way. Let's get into today's video. Alright, I first want to start off by explaining what we have in the front of us. This here is the brake block that sits underneath your brake booster, or I think they call this the master for the brakes. And basically this big line here comes out the bottom of it and goes into this block here, right? The issue we were having is this used to be a V6 Mustang, so this didn't come with this big brake booster. So it had these small lines that couldn't go into it. So I have this big line that needs to be converted to this small line, right? And the way we're going to be doing that is compression fittings. One side is for the big side, one is for the small, and then, you know, I think there's some unions in it, and a crush washer or crush sleeve. Basically you cut the two ends off and you put this in the middle, tighten it down with some Teflon, and you should be good to go. Other than that, this here, the brake block that sits like this in the car, the top port is for the front left brake, right? I think it's the upper port or something like, yeah, this upper port that's close to the top port, these are the two front brakes, so you want to leave those in, right? And this port here is for the two rear brakes. It's one line, and when it gets to the back of the vehicle it splits into two. So what you do is you take this block out, and I carried it to a hardware store and they made this for me. So it's basically 3 fittings in one. This one screws in just like the brake line, then this fitting screws onto that, and then this, let me see if I can get it off with one hand. So screw one in, second one is on the other one. So this is how it looks. It's an open end now. Then you take this, which is a block off. See that? Take a block off, put some Teflon tape on it, screw it in. Proper rear brake delete. No fluid going into the line. Because see, this is what I had before for the rear brakes. I had this line that used to come out to go to the rear brakes, and I just rolled it over and kinked it up, and it didn't leak too much, but it still was leaking out at the end of the line because I was trying my best to kink the line so that the fluid doesn't flow. But I don't want to do that. Brake fluid is highly flammable, and I don't have a very good track record of fire, so of dealing with fire. So let me explain it to you again. This is the block. It's going to be sitting upright like this in the car. This top port is for the front left brake. This top left port is for the front right brake. The bottom port that's on the left is for the rear brakes. We're going to delete that. And this port on the right side goes to the reservoir. So like I said, you're going to have this big line coming from that, the smaller line that's going to be joined by this union, and then this fitting goes into the front right side. And also this line goes into this port on the reservoir. We're going to be using this pretty cheap brake cutter, the brake line cutter, to make sure we got good ends to go into these compression sleeves. I'm going to put this thing together, and then I'll show you what I have before I put it in the car. Alright, first things first, all of these fittings, the proper wrenches to put them together would be a 1/2 inch. Let me see if I can get it to focus on now. Right there, 1/2 inch. 9/16. Can I get it to focus? Uh-oh. Right there. 9/16. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, basically it's 1/2 inch, 9/16, and 7/16. So 3 wrenches to put all these fittings together. And I want to start with the block off one. So I'm going to take out the plug, and I'm going to remove, because I think it's 3 pieces. Okay, so this piece you'll need Teflon, so will this, so will the block off, just to make sure that it doesn't leak. So how do you apply Teflon? Okay, So this is pretty simple. When I'm screwing this in, I'm gonna be screwing it to the right, just like that, right? So you want to roll the Teflon in the same direction that you're gonna be tightening it down in. So if I know I'm gonna roll it to the right, I'm gonna start with a little bit of Teflon, like right here, and then just lay it over. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. So just lay it the same direction. Don't mind it being baggy. Once you don't overdo it, because like I rolled that 3 times just now, just pop off the end. Best thing to do is just roll it, like I said, and look at that, beautiful. If it would ever focus. But you can see the threads through it, so it's sitting in the threads good. And now when I screw this in, like this, so you see the block off here. Now when I screw it in, it'll have a bit of resistance going in because of the added tape. But if you look, the tape isn't shredding away. Look, the tape is actually going inside of the port and creating a much better seal. When you do it the wrong way, you'll see a bunch of the tape just bunching up. Instead of going in, it'll bunch up on the outside because it was rolled on the wrong way. So yes, whichever direction you're gonna be rolling the fitting in or screwing it in, that's the way you wanna roll the Teflon. So I'm gonna continue with this and show you what I have when I'm done. And just in case you guys don't know how to do or how to use a brake line cutter, you basically, it has this thumb screw on it and 2 rollers at the top, and you just center up the brake line right where you want to cut it. Make sure the line is in between the 2 rollers. Tighten it down, just like that. Tighten it right the way you can barely move it. You know, do a couple of turns. That's it. Do a couple of turns. Tighten it down again when you feel it get loose. Do a couple of turns. Tighten it down, getting loose. Do a couple of turns. You just keep repeating this step until you've cut it all the way through. And there you go. That's a clean cut brake line. And that's what you're looking for when you're using the unions. You want it to be as clean as possible to get a good seal. Okay, so what I'm gonna have to do now is I'm gonna have to put this back in place in the vehicle so I can get a good measurement for how long this custom line needs to be. So I'm gonna install this and then show you guys what I got. All right, so this is how I decided to do it instead of putting it in the vehicle, because that would have been much harder. The bottom line, I know for sure, is the correct length. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this line here, right on a straight part of it, and then make one nice, clean, short line that goes from the block straight where it needs to go. So instead of doing it in the vehicle, I was smart enough at least, or to have a good idea, I should say, to do it like this. Use the template of the old one, of the bottom one, and just replicate it for the other side. All right, so this is the completed custom line. Like I said, it's gonna go from the V8 booster or master, whatever you're gonna call it, to the block. So that should be the final product right there. It doesn't go right up. I gave myself some, it doesn't go straight where it needs to go. I gave myself some wiggle room in case I cut wrong or did something wrong, I could do it again. But we're gonna get this thing in the car, get it installed, fill up the reservoir with brake fluid, and start to bleed the system. All right, so probably gonna be a bit difficult to record this. Sun's going down, not a lot of light, but those right there, right down in the back there, are the two lines coming from the brake master. This is the front driver brake line. This is the passenger brake line. So front left, front right. This is the block off for the rear brakes, and the two inlets to the master that go right here. It's not the prettiest thing, but it'll get the job done and it'll work just fine. You can also notice that I removed the wire harness, and that's for a very exciting reason. So yeah, the reason why I removed the wire harness is the harness that we've been waiting on for like 7 weeks now is on its way, and it should be delivered to a shipping company in Florida. Then it's going to be sent from there to me. So I'm hoping it's going to be delivered Thursday afternoon, and I'm hoping that it catches the plane to come to Freeport, Bahamas the next day, and I can get it either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week. So I'm doing a lot of prepping when it comes to the car, getting the brakes ready, power steering ready, because when this wire harness reach, oh my God, we are going to be driving this thing non-stop. So get ready for plenty of drifting videos, racing videos, and anything else we could do with this car, because we're going to be doing it. Anything you want to see me do on this channel, make sure to put it in the comments. Leave a like, share this video with a friend, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.